Hey everybody, so do you have books or types of books that you read when you just want to escape it all? Books that take you on adventures to different worlds that absolutely just take you out of the day-to-day? Well, for me, that is fantasy and science fiction. And so today, I'm here to recommend a whole stack of science fiction and fantasy that will take you on a completely new journey. Let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course, I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. The weather here in Northern California cannot make up its mind. It rained and rained and rained. We finally had some sunshine, cold, but sunshine, things were driving up, and of course now the rain is back. So we have a couple more days of rain in our future, a couple days free, and then rain comes back again. So I hope wherever you are, the weather is wonderful. I can't complain though, because let me tell you, I have been doing some amazing reading and just been home and it's been fantastic. Today, I'm here to share with you some fantasy novels for your TBR. Now, I like to every once in a while just dive into a new fantasy world, get swept away by the author's imagination, and just go on an adventure. For me, it's just the best way sometimes to enjoy reading. And today I have a whole stack of them that I think will fit that bill. And a lot of them, I think, if you are new to the fantasy genre, I think you will like a lot of these as well. So let's get started. Get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please get these books from your local independent bookstore or get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. So I'm going to start, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting thing because I have some that are parts of series, some that I'm currently reading, so I'm just going to talk about them and hopefully you will put them all on your TBR. The first book I want to tell you about is The Warden by Daniel M. Ford. This is out in April from TORDOTCOM. I actually started this book this morning. I was looking for that adventure, and I'm already like 70 pages into it while reading another book this morning as well. So I am invested in this new, I think it's going to be a trilogy. So our main character is A-E-L-I-S. I'm calling her Alice in my head. She has graduated from this like college of magic, and she has graduated in with three different disciplines. And she's from a very wealthy family, and when she graduates from this college, she expects great things to happen to her, and she winds up actually getting sent to this sort of like remote village out in the middle of nowhere where she's going to be the warden. Now, the thing about wardens and about their magic is one of their areas of expertise is necromancy. So when she arrives at this small village, no one really wants to get to know her. She wasn't expecting to go there on her own. She meets the local innkeepers. They sort of take her in, and she starts to sort of become part of this community by doing different things, from helping to build a fence to actually defending the village when needed. But she starts to notice that things are changing, that people are changing, and maybe there's an evil in the forest next door that no one knows is there, and she is going to be the one that has to stop it from entering the kingdom. I am loving this book. I think the main character is very, very engaging. I'm loving the world building. I love that it's taking time to establish her as a person. Also, the magic is really interesting, and it sort of is seamlessly intertwined into the storytelling. You know, one of my biggest issues with fantasy novels is if the world building gets in the way of the story. No way does that happen in this book. I am absolutely loving it. I'm sad that I'm reading it and all of them are not out because I know I'm going to want to go right into the next one. But if you are looking for a new series to start, The Warden by Daniel M. Ford is out in April, and I highly recommend so far. Really, really, really enjoying it. Okay. So another book I want to tell you about, also out from, this one's out from Tor.com, is a little novella called The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill. This actually came out in February, so you can get your hands on it right now. Can we just take a moment on that cover? So this is a story of a young 15-year-old girl. She's sort of the person that keeps her whole family running. It's her mother, herself, and I believe her brother. Yes. So she's like this in this Midwestern town. Her mom has brought people home before, but they've never stuck. So it's really only been the three of them until one day she brings home this crane, and her mom becomes immensely sort of infatuated under the spell of this crane. And I love what it says at the ending here. It says, utterly enchanted and numb to his sharp edges, her mom abandons the world around her to weave the masterpiece the crane demands. So this is a retelling of the Crane Wife in sort of this different sort of format. And I've started this one too. Really good, you know, and just, God, I cannot get over this cover. So if you're looking for a little novella of fantasy, I recommend The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill, out now from TOR.com. Okay. A book that is actually coming out in, let me see, this one is coming out in April as well, that I'm really excited. It's one of my most anticipated reads of the year because I have loved everything I have read by TJ Klune. This one is out from Tor as well. This comes out in April, as I said, and it's called In the Lives of Puppets, A Real Boy and His Wooden Heart, No Strings Attached. So this is a reimagination of the Pinocchio fairy tale, as you know. And this is a story of three robots that live in a city, like in the treetops like this. They're sort of hidden away from everything, and they do have one human that lives with them. That and that is, oh gosh, I couldn't remember the name. Sorry, Vic. And Vic is one day salvaging parts, and he finds this robot and starts it, and it sort of creates this horror deal. So it brings people from the past of the robot family that he lives with in, and sort of the father figure gets taken away, and the family goes on an adventure really to save him from the people who have taken him away. I'm trying to keep myself a little bit naive to the plot because I just love TJ Klune's a way of telling a story. There's always a little bit of queer romance involved. I always cry a little bit, and I'm just such a fan of his work. So I'm really excited for his new book, In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, A Real Boy and His Wooden Heart, No Strings Attached, and this comes out in April from Tor. Okay. The next is the start of the series that I want to tell you about. If you've been on my channel and watched any of my fantasy videos before, I have already told you about The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. This is out from Orbit. I loved this book when I read it a few years ago now, maybe just a year ago. Gosh, time flies when books come out. This is the story of a world where we have two main characters in this book. We have, excuse me, we have Terrain, who is like a warrior. She was stolen from her family when she was very young from a land overtaken by the monarchy. And we have Luca, who is sort of the queen in waiting. And in book one, they go to Terrain's homeland, and a revolution sort of occurs. And Luca sort of has to make decisions, and she's trying to become this like queen in waiting and sort of negotiate down something that is happening all around her, and it becomes very complicated. Bits of queer romance in this is too. Book 2 in this series, The Faithless, is coming out this month in March, and I'm going to try to get that up there. That's Luca. So on the first one we have Terrain, and then on the second one we have Luca. And Luca's back at sort of the castle, the kingdom, and she is dealing with the political intrigue to get her ousted from the throne. And also she has brought Terrain and another member of her community to there to sort of negotiate this peace treaty settlement agreement between the two countries. All sorts of things happen. There's like a little bit of magic. There's a little bit of political intrigue. There's a little bit of just plain old good-fashioned sword fighting. There's everything you need in this series. I really, really love it. I'm pretty far. I'm like over halfway through The Faithless. So I really cannot wait to see what C.L. Clarke does with the rest of this series. So this is The Unbroken and The Faithless, book 1 and 2. And this one comes out in March. This one is already out, and I want to thank Orbitz very, very much for sending me them both. I really, really appreciate it, and I absolutely love it. Highly, highly recommend. Okay, and there's going to be a third. So if you're like really invested, you know that there's a third coming. So I got sent book 1 and 2 in a couple of series this year, and some big hunkster books, let me just tell you. So I'm going to go through those right now. And I've started one of them, and that is Kagan the Damned by Jonathan Maberry. This is out from St. Martin's Press, and I told you this is a hunkster of a book. So, Kagan is a warrior. He has been trained, and his whole sort of duty in life is to protect the royal children of the kingdom in which he lives. But one night, he's out and about, he's at a bar, and he gets drugged, and an attack occurs on the kingdom, and things happen to the children, and he gets exiled. He gets cursed because he did not protect the children of the family. And he goes on an adventure really to of revenge. That's what I'll say. It's an adventure of revenge. But what has happened is magic has re-entered his world. It had been expelled, and there is a witch king that has taken over. And he is out to try to destroy that king and to get the realm back to where it was. And all sorts of adventures happen. Now, this one is out, and this one just came out in, I think, early February, and that's Son of the Poison Robe. This is Russell. Gosh. Speaking is difficult today. The Son of the Poison Rose. And this just one came out, and this is book 2 in the series. He is still on his adventure, but he's sort of getting exhausted with everything that's going on. And in this book, he is being hunted. There's a huge reward on his head, and things are getting more and more complicated. So that's Kagan the Damned and Son of the Poison Rose by Jonathan Maberry, out from St. Martin's Press. I do want to say that this is definitely like an R-rated series. This has a lot of violence, it has a lot of blood, it has a lot of sexual assault. So it is definitely not for your young readers unless they're very sophisticated. I'm not saying don't let your kids read them if that is what they're into, but I'm just putting it out there. If that's tough for you to read too, it may be a little bit harder, but it's a fantastic story. It's a fantastic world. Kagan is a person that you root for and hate at the same time. So much going on. Really enjoying it. So, Kagan the Damned and Son of the Poison Rose by Jonathan Maberry. Definitely start this series. And I mean, I'm telling you, girl. I mean, they're chunksters. So if you are in the mood for a chunky series, actually, this next series is a bit of a chunkster too. But this is one that I didn't know anything about, and then Orbit sent me book 1 and book 2. So I want to say thank you very much. This is the Vagrant Gods series. So the first one is called The Bladed Faith, and this is by David Dalglish. And the second one is called The Sapphire Altar, also by David, clearly. And they are a series. So I'm going to use the back to help me a little bit here. So Cyrus is our main character. He's 14 when his country is invaded. All of his gods killed. His parents, the king and queen, are murdered as well. And he is held prisoner. And after some years, a mysterious group of revolutionaries break him free and give him the chance for revenge for his family and for his country. In exchange, he will become the figurehead of their rebellion. He will become a hero to unite the people and strike fear in the hearts of the Imperials. He will take up the skull mask and twin swords that become the legendary Vagrant, an unparalleled assassin of otherworldly skill. But not all of it is as it seems. Creating the illusion of a hero is the work of many, and Cyrus must soon discover the true price of his vengeance. I just want to say, I wish this sort of mask is so creepy. Isn't it great? And then in this one, we continue the story, and Cyrus is, he's this trained assassin, but he's starting to learn that everything is not what he thought it was going to be, and his master who's trained him has more secrets than truths, and it keeps going, the series and the adventure. So that's The Bladed Faith and The Sapphire Altar by David Dalglish, and this is out from Orbit as well. But again, these are chunky books, but I feel like fantasy readers, they're invested in chunky books, so they really like it. The second book, or the last book that I'm going to tell you about, is actually the second book in a series. Now, I've been told you do not have to read both of them, that you can read them separate, but it does help to have read the first to understand the second. So the first in this series was called Winter's Orbit, but this one's called Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. This is also out by Tor, and this is my sci-fi edition to this. And queer love stories abound. You know how that is? I like it. I like a little bit of fantasy with a little bit of queer love. So I am going to use this one to help me out. So rich socialite introverted flirt, and walking disaster, Tenelin Halkana can read minds. Like all other neuromodified readers, he's a security threat of his own. But when controlled, readers are a rare asset. Not only can they read minds, but they can navigate chaotic space, the maelstrom surrounding the gateway to the wider universe. He's conscripted to the military under dubious circumstances and placed in the care of Lieutenant Surit Inu, Y-E-N-I. Inu? Okay, sorry about that. A duty-bound soldier, principal leader, and the son of a notorious traitor general. Whereas Tanal can read minds, Surit can influence them. Like all neuromodified architects, he can impose his will on others, and he's under orders to control Tanal by merging their minds. Ooh, that's all I'm going to say because that sounds really good. I'm sure there's more to it. I'm sure there's some sort of political intrigue and we're going to learn all of that. But yeah, no, Winter's Orbit, I listened to the first half on a trip and then my husband and I never got back to it. And that is shame on me because we were really, really enjoying it. So I need to get back to it. And Ocean's Echo. And Jacqueline, I think you told me that both this series is really, really good. Always in the comments, always encouraging me to read it. But I may be mistaken. If it wasn't you, I apologize. So again, that's Everina, Maxwell, Ocean's Echo. Both of these books are out. They've been out for a little bit. But I got this copy and I wanted to make sure and share it with you. So there is no way I can hold up that giant stack of science fiction fantasy of 700-page books and not drop them all over myself. So I'm not going to try to do it. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope that you try some fantasy and science fiction because I really do feel that they are just a great way to escape everything that's going on. And I really, really love them. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and this time, read globally, read outside our own very, very world. And until next time, I wish you happy reading. Talk to you all later.